There is no intro. What are you talking about? Oh wait, yeah,
Go
there
through them.
is. We don't introduce ourselves.
We
Um,
introduced the show.
yeah, welcome back to another episode of Engineering Money, where we just try to survive in the wilderness that is the stock market.
And in general.
Um, yeah, and in general, we
In
are
general,
three
just trying to cope.
engineers, um, and it's race weekend.
What does that mean?
The Indy 500 is tomorrow.
Oh, really?
It
Wow.
is the greatest spectacle in motorsports.
I believe it.
Um,
How do we get
I'm
in?
excited for it. What?
How do we get into the profits?
You watch it and you just
Oh, you just
consume with your
profit.
eyes.
Profit off the consumerism.
You can
It's called
bet.
investing in yourself, Ben.
I think you can bet on the drivers, actually.
Yeah. What is the betting ecosystem like?
Well, normally me and my friends just bet drinks.
That's the best kind of betting. That's how you really make gains.
Hold on, I gotta stand up so I'm not so white. Oh, look at that.
It helped a little.
Yeah, now the sun's not in my eyes.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you can hide the fact that you're super white.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tim, you're always going to be a bit white.
So this episode, it's gonna be a bit all over the place this week, boys.
Let's do it.
First stock ticker.
We're just going right into
EBW.
tickers. EBW?
Is that a Vanguard ETF?
Wait, EBW?
No, BBW.
Oh, BBW.
BB. I thought you said B.
Build-A-Bear Workshop.
Bill, I didn't know they were their
Dude,
own
I actually would look.
public company.
I looked at this the other day.
Yeah,
They're going crazy.
Because, Joey, they beat earnings by 213%.
Who is analyzing these guys?
I wonder how many analysts they have. Because
who is following BBW?
I mean, first of all, the ticker's just great. But
Yeah, it's pretty clutch.
I didn't even think that Build-A-Bear would have been public.
I thought they would be a subsidiary.
Yeah, no, they are a publicly traded company. It's incredible.
Yeah, and honestly, I just brought them up because I thought I saw that in the news and it was just straight out of left field. I was like, "Oh, like Build-A-Bear." But they've been, like a lot of companies. Actually, no, they were just doing terrible up until March of last year, and then they just decided, all right.
Well, yeah, look at March earning report. It was a surprise 250% higher than expected. They've had 2 in a row now.
Okay, but since
300%
still not up to
the end of last year.
Okay,
2015
Joey, they're at a
levels.
5-year high though.
5-year high, but relative to their overall history, they're still low.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
they're also still overvalued.
Oh,
relative
they're
to their
definitely
industry.
overvalued. But, yeah, Build-A-Bear Workshop. I just wanted to bring it up. Okay, and then have you guys heard? Well, Amazon, they bought MGM, or they will buy
Movie
MGM.
company.
Yeah, so that's pretty big because the streaming wars are hot,
Mm-hmm.
and this ties into.
Wait, they're buying MGM?
Yeah.
Whoa.
The movie company, the one with the lion.
Yeah. No one really seemed to care that much. I mean, MGM.
Holy crap, Tim. We've entered rave space.
Are you in a lightning storm?
You guys put in like.
Whoa.
If you're only listening to this on Spotify, you're really missing out.
Okay, this happened to me the other day during work, and I couldn't figure out what caused it. Okay.
Wow, we might need to put a seizure warning on this episode.
I think you might. Hold on, I'm gonna unplug.
But
Okay, so
Tim,
MGM.
how How much are they buying
Okay.
MGM for?
Yeah.
Um, it says right here 8.5 billion.
How many shares?
What?
All of
How
them,
many
right?
shares?
They were just buying it out completely.
Yeah, they're just buying all of
So yeah,
MGM.
so how many
Just
do we know how many shares
scooping it.
there are?
I don't think MGM is public.
I didn't think it was either.
MGM?
Yeah, I just
The ticker MGM is a resort company. We're talking about Metro Goldwyn Mayer, a media company.
yeah.
That makes a lot more sense. I was super confused. And then I asked,
Yeah,
"Wait,
no,
really? They're buying MGM?"
they're
I
okay, they're
see
buying
that. Okay,
MGM
that makes a lot more
film.
sense.
Yes.
Like, wow,
So,
Amazon's really spreading wide.
yeah, they the notable series that MGM has are James Bond, Stargate, Rocky,
Hmm.
Pink Panther, and
You know
RoboCop.
what? I did hear about
So,
this. Yes,
yeah,
and they're just gonna like
not
get.
not a whole it's not a whole lot of heavy hitters
Mhm.
in those franchises. I mean, James Bond, obviously, but um, I mean, it just gives them more, um,
So I'm assuming
capacity to make their own original content.
that, and I'm also assuming they did this for exclusive rights for like Prime Video for those existing franchises.
Oh yeah, definitely. However, I mean, have you guys used Prime Video?
A few times, yeah.
Yeah,
It's terrible. The
it's not.
UI,
It has
I
room
don't
for
know.
improvement.
I don't know if I would call it
so bad.
terrible.
They're
Do you have a
First of
Do
Well,
you
all,
have a
there should be a
let
Prime?
me
way.
put it this way. I watch everything that I watch on my TV through an Amazon
Yeah,
Fire Stick.
yeah.
And with that tool,
Okay.
Prime Video is fine.
Okay, yeah. If you're doing it through there, but if you're trying to access it from like a browser or anything, it looks like hot garbage. It's like you're just trying to browse Amazon normally, and it's really hard to tell until you get to the final step whether you can actually watch something or you have to pay for it.
Right.
Um, but
Well, do you
they
do you have
they do
Prime,
have a lot of
Tim?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay. I was just
Yeah, I mean,
curious.
even with Prime, there's a lot of stuff they offer that you still have
Yes.
to pay
Yeah.
for.
Oh,
You're
right.
right.
Because they'll
Mm-hmm.
have like stars partnerships or
Hmm.
just it isn't available to stream. You have to
Mm-hmm.
rent it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but surprisingly, well, maybe unsurprisingly, the price didn't really move that much when this deal was announced. I mean, probably because MGM's not like like I said, they don't have that cool of franchises, and I
Well,
think
but
it's going to be
the
more of a.
interesting number that I heard was they're bidding almost 9 billion, and MGM was most recently priced at 5 billion.
Mm.
I mean, 9 billion for Amazon though. They
This
can
is
probably.
Jeff
Upcharge.
Bezos. He forgot how much money is worth.
Yeah. Um,
Is
but if
Jeff
you looked
Bezos
at
making those
Amazon,
decisions anymore, though? Now that he's left?
no, he's not.
Yeah.
No, he officially steps down July 4th or July 5th.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I mean, Amazon over the past year has largely traded sideways.
Hmm.
And the Oracle says 22% estimated return.
And remember, for those saying, "Hey, that's a fifth of what the S&P 500 is doing right now," 20% is normally very good.
And
Yeah.
um, just going back to some things about the Oracle's predictions, KL is making a comeback.
KL,
Yes.
yes.
They're
KL.
making a
Yeah.
strong
Gold.
comeback.
Gold in general is recovering.
Every other day, it's inflation woes this, inflation woes
Yeah.
that. So gold.
I hate it so much because every single Yahoo Finance market opening statement and closing statement is investors so and so because of inflation fears so and so. Like,
Right. It's yeah, it's
Yeah.
always up because inflation woes are easing or down because inflation woes are increasing. And
yeah,
Tim, it's your new stimulus talks.
yeah, it's stimulus stocks. That's what it was before. But yeah, Amazon, I mean, I'm not gonna. Should probably just have Amazon. They're not gonna go away. So
This is not the end of Amazon's growth and expansion.
Should we
yeah,
title this episode "The End of Amazon" and put a bunch of question marks at the end?
Yeah, we've
Amazon's
questioned it.
biggest mistake of 2021. Um, but the big kahuna for today.
Oh boy. 10 minutes in,
Exxon.
big kahuna. Exxon
Exxon.
Mobil?
I'm not suggesting that you invest in Exxon because we don't give advice. So I would never do that. But um, so if you hadn't heard in the news recently, there, well, have you heard of activist hedge funds?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's an
What are
activist
they,
hedge fund
Tim,
called,
for our viewers?
so
Not for me,
either,
for our viewers.
well, so they have money. So there are a few ways they can try to make changes in a company, which is their activism. Um, they can try to buy enough shares to have like an influence in the vote. Oh shit. It's happening again.
All right, so they can buy shares to have an influence in the vote.
Yeah, or they can convince enough people that have all those votes to, vote a certain way during the voting period,
I see.
um, during the yearly meeting. Um,
They
but
also do a
engine
lot of
number
shorting.
one,
They'll be like, "Hey, we're gonna short and drag your company down if you don't make changes."
yeah, and engine number one, they were trying to do some activism with an Exxon with only 0.02% of the shares.
Mm,
Hmm.
So they obviously can't pull any weight with the votes. But what they were trying to do is to get Exxon to um, adopt more clean energy. And I mean, Exxon's strategy has been, oh, well, the other oil companies are diversifying into clean energy. So we're just going to stay and soak up all the oil money that's left, which,
nice.
could work.
Well,
But
and there was just a big, wasn't it Shell just had a big thing in Germany where the activists won and they are moving to a bunch of clean energy commitments.
well, yeah, so similar thing happened here. The way they were engine number one was going to influence Exxon is they petitioned for three new people on the board, or replacing three people on the board with their own that would push for renewable energies. And so obviously they didn't have enough votes. They were trying to go to the big investors of Exxon and try to convince them to vote a certain way. And the way they actually got it done was they got BlackRock to
Oh,
back them, which brings up, I mean, I don't really care about this outcome, but it brings up an interesting topic is that like BlackRock, Vanguard, Fidelity, all these places with big index funds that people just invested into the index funds. There are so many investors that are completely severed from their voting rights on all of these large cap companies. So the companies that actually hold those voting rights because they hold the shares, they like Vanguard could, or like BlackRock, they could just go to like they could probably decide how Exxon is going to be running the company through the shareholder meetings if
Mm-hmm.
they wanted to, but they haven't at this point.
it's an
But
interesting
like,
side that I don't consider often in my investing. I get those notifications that's like, hey, vote your shares. And
mm-hmm.
sometimes I do it, but I don't think about that too much. I'm more like, their companies are doing something. I hope to get in on what makes the price go up. And compare that to activists that are like, hey, we want to be involved with what the company does and make money that way.
It's the most
Yeah,
literal interpretation of voting with your wallet.
Hmm.
yeah, like I mean, I even have company stock. So my company that I work for is private, but we get to invest in it, and I get a thing in the mail every year that says, "Hey, vote this year on our proposals." And I look at them, and if it doesn't involve, giving us more vacation or be getting more money, then I
Nice.
normally ignore it. But yeah, I've been getting a lot of things for voting. Voting. Oh, I actually got one for Hylian Holdings company recently, and that made me sad. But um,
I
yeah, I
always
I
vote
just
if it's like a executive compensation package, I vote against it.
yeah
And other than that, I tend to vote with what the board recommends because I figured I don't want to be throwing a wrench in the company I'm invested in. But if it's
You're so
executive
considerate, Joey.
compensations,
you should just vote no for everything. Just rock the boat. It's not like your few shares are gonna matter.
true.
But and I feel like at a certain point, like when you're a small investor, it doesn't really matter too much. Um, Interesting. It doesn't really matter too much because you don't have that many shares or votes in the scheme of things. But like so index funds and investing that way, like who cares when you start out? But I don't know. If I my life goal is to become an accredited investor someday, which is, a total portfolio over $1 million.
Credit.
At at that point, does it make sense to go away from index funds and actually be able to vote with?
The thing is, it takes a whole nother commitment on your end. It's like a full time job to know what's going on and be involved with it.
Yeah. So that's the thing. I don't know.
But if you got $1 million, you might be able to make that happen.
You can just have some fatty dividend stocks and live off that.
There you go.
Oh, and one the one thing I bought this past week was um, NOBL.
Noble, yeah.
Yeah. Ben, they dropped Carrier and Otis.
NOBL. They dropped them?
Yeah. It's the dividend aristocrats. I don't know why they dropped them because they still do their dividends, but
Man, I haven't looked at Carrier in a long time.
oh, they're still doing great.
Wow.
Yeah.
What a beautiful stock.
I should have never sold them when I was up 50%. Um, but yeah. Oh, I did have one more thing to talk about this week. Out of Intel, Nvidia, and AMD, all of them are overpriced except Intel.
Oh,
Well, Intel has been kicked pretty hard.
Yeah. Well, they've recovered recently, kind of.
What is their
Intel and AMD are the ones I like.
shoot? I can't remember their ticker.
I forget why, but I looked at some.
Did my internet just crash?
Nvidia is kind of like really overpriced.
My internet might
But-
have just took a poop
Hey.
for a second. It's fine.
Oh no,
We-
Ben.
At this point, it's only Cam that's watching on the YouTube, so that's all right.
Yeah.
We
Hi,
have
Cam.
struggles. This has been a struggle bus of an episode.
Cam, how's your wife?
We need technical support on our team.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need a producer.
Oh my gosh. What's going on?
Intel, yeah, they've just been in a rut for a long time. Lots of big investors
Yeah.
talk about them, and some people still have faith that they can recover, and others are like, you know what, it's time for Intel to go to bed. They've been out way too late. they're way too sloppy at this point, and they just need to sleep it off.
Yeah, and then eventually
Ford did it.
they might go the way of IBM, where they just, you know, kind of hang out in the background and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, they're still
Remember
around."
them?
Yeah.
Or they could be like Ford and get back into the spotlight.
Oh, Ford is actually doing.
Telling you,
did you
man,
guys?
is the Bronco.
They were
No.
dying, then they eliminated their dividend,
Oh, it's after 20.
released their Bronco,
Oh, you're right.
Bye-bye.
and then committed to EVs.